America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javanokelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Good morning, Zizi. Hello, Joyce. I hope you're doing well. I am in Seattle, Washington. My name is Simon Javanokelo, and I am excited to be here today for another session of the Daily African Proverbs. We are live here on Clubhouse, and also we are live on YouTube. I would love for you to ping in one or two people to join us in the room if you're on Clubhouse. And if you're on YouTube, I would love for you to share the link to this live stream with anybody else that you think can join us. But also, give this live stream and this video a like, and leave your comment and share with us what today's proverb means to you. We are going to host an amazing guest here today. She's a wonderful author. She's a food content creator and founder of Leo Tunapika. She's going to be joining us here in a moment. But I'm just excited to be here for another session of the Daily African Proverbs. Our proverb today, takes us to a journey in Nigeria. And it says that a child is what you put into him. I'll be pinning it at the top of the room in a moment. And, I'm really curious to learn from our guest, Gatuiri Hiraoko, what this proverb means to her. And also, I'm excited to relate this proverb to, the food that she makes. A lot of the time, what you eat is what you become, and what you tell yourself is also what you become. Like Zizi was sharing with us yesterday. Zizi was my, guest yesterday, and it was just amazing. It's nice to see you, Alexis. It's nice to see you, Joseph and Stephanie. Welcome. And Zizi, nice to see you as always. And, when I looked at today's proverb, a child is what you put into him. I felt that this proverb is really, it was directed at me to a certain extent, because I am a father, and I spend most of my time with my 3 girls. And what you tell your children is the food that you give them. What you feed them literally is also what they become. What you eat leads to how you behave, and when I feed my kids African food, there's always either a conversation or resistance, because they love American food. That's what they were born here, and so it's always a conversation whenever I want them to eat ugali and sukuma wiki, which is every week. And also even when I'm making them lunch, they are always like, daddy's food. But, my goal is for them to get used to African food, no matter how challenging it is. And my hope is for them to also understand why, because they always ask, why are you giving us this food? Why not this? Then I have to explain. I also have to research and know why is it that, I'm giving them specific foods and not other foods. So also being a gardener, I always want them to eat food from our garden. I'm always advocating for the things that I grow, because I don't want to grow food and then nobody eats it. So I don't want to eat food that I grow by myself either. So, I involve them in sharing some of the food we grow with our neighbors. I involve them in learning how to cook some of the food. I also involve them in eating some of the food raw in the garden, even before we get back in the house. So it's for me, this is a very exciting proverb to discuss, and I would love to hear what Zizi and Alexis and Joseph and Jermaine and Stephanie and MK, what you all have to say about today's proverb. And I also want to welcome you who is with us on YouTube. Thank you so much. Leave a comment so that I know who you are, and also, share with us what your thoughts of today's proverb is. Let's hear briefly from Zizi. Zizi, share with us your interpretation of today's proverb. I'm going to pin it at the top of the room in just a moment.
I absolutely agree with you, Simon. When I was bringing my children, I had the same problem. We were here in somewhere, like we moved to Canada when one was 7 and the other one was 4. And I didn't want them to forget the Egyptian food and, Middle Eastern stuff. And they were very resistant. They didn't want, they wanted the hamburgers, the McDonald's, and all the Canadian American stuff. And it has always been a battle. I was able to control the situation a bit until they grew on their own. And I still think that the older one maybe has experienced the Egyptian food a little bit more, but the younger one who has become a lawyer doesn't really care for the Egyptian food at all and prefers the other. But definitely, what you put in your children is what you get most of the time in the early years, because that's when you are able to have input when they're very young, up to maybe 10, 11, until they start looking at their peer group, and their peer group in adolescence becomes their teacher. And I think at that point, it's very hard to have any kind of control, maybe a bit with girls, perhaps, but they resent it. But with boys, you really don't have as much. So I do agree with you that what we put is what we get, but we can be responsible after they get to adolescence, because our influence is not our influence anymore. So what we want to put on our children, we better put it early on and be there no matter what. And I love the way you have decided to be with your children, your daughters, instead of getting very busy in other stuff, because you will not regret it. You'll find the result there. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're most welcome, Zizi. Yeah, it's one of the toughest things I've had to do, to adjust to spending most of my time with my daughters as a full-time father. That's part of why I have to wake up early and produce the daily African proverbs before they wake up. Because once they wake up, I have to get them ready for school, breakfast, all of that. Then when they're in school, that's when I can get some work done. And I'm very happy with it, because then I can pursue my dreams, the things that I've always been just thinking and talking about and trying, but not really putting enough energy into. I can really put a lot of energy and even involve my daughters in doing them, so it's a slow moving train, but I'm just so happy with it. So thank you, Zizi. Let's hear from Alexis. Alexis, what are your thoughts about this proverb that I have now pinned at the top of the room? It says, "A child is what you put into him." Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Simon. No, thank you. This proverb is very, very important, and it speaks to me from a place because I've been educating myself on child psychology and things of that nature. So today, my interpretation of the proverb, I'm going to have to go back to a quote from Greek philosopher Aristotle. One thing that Aristotle said is he said, "Give me a child until he is 7, and I will show you the man." That is true. If you in the first 7 years of a child's life, it is said, and I don't know this to be fact or anything, but it is said that a child has no conscience at that time. Their conscience is being developed. So in the first 7 years of a child's life, this is something that Don Miguel Ruiz says in the Four Agreements, which is one of my favorite books. A child is actually domesticated just like a cat or a dog, okay? And this is what he says in the Four Agreements. But it makes so much sense because we as a people are domesticated. And if you notice, when children are from 1 to 7, they are their authentic self. We are the ones who tell them, oh no, don't do that. That's not wrong. That's not right. Or you're not supposed to do that. We're the one who teach them what is right and wrong. Their authentic self knows what they want to do, and they're expressing their authentic self in that first 7 years. We create in them the rights, the wrongs, the opinions, the virtues that they have, the morals that they have. We instill them. They become nothing but a carbon copy of what they see. A lot of times parents try to tell children, oh, you should do this and you shouldn't do that. But children don't do what you say. They do what they see. Whatever they see is what they're going to do, not what you tell them to do. They're going to do exactly what you did and see, like, oh, well, you don't practice what you preach. Guess what? They're going to replicate that because they're watching you. So that proverb definitely means a lot to me because I have been educating myself in terms of understanding psychology and the mental psyche, period. So that is my interpretation today. Thank you so much for that, Simon.
Thank you so much, Alexis. My guest is here. I just want to, position her so that she's ready for our conversation today. We are just going to do a quick setup. Alexis, I really love your interpretation on this proverb. Gatwiri, thank you so much for joining us. This is this show, the Daily African Proverbs, have been doing it since January this year, and we have a global audience that has already joined us on Clubhouse, and we also have people on YouTube who have joined us, and I'm just so excited to have you as our guest today. I'm very proud of the work that you do. For those who are meeting Gatwiri Hiraoko for the first time, she's an author of a book, the Little Veggie Cookbook, right?
Yes.
And she's also a food content creator based in Nairobi, Kenya. And, today we are going to learn a little more about Gatwiri, and then we are going to hear from everyone who has joined us on stage. Just to quickly mention everyone on Clubhouse who have joined us currently, we have Zizi, who is an Egyptian elder. She's 85, but she lives in, I think, Zizi, you live in Canada, right? East Coast of Canada. Oh, are you in the East Coast of the US? I just want to make sure. Then we have...
No, I live in Ottawa, the capital of Canada.
Ottawa. Fantastic. And Zizi was my guest yesterday. She's an author as well. So thank you for being here, Zizi. And then Alexis and Jermaine. Jermaine, I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for being here. And then we have, quite a few people in the room, like Roger in Singapore, Joseph in Namibia, and Brother and Bibi and Coco and Ominira and Life and MK and Stephanie. So now I want you to just take a moment and share with us what your thoughts about this proverb is. A child is what you put into him. Share with us your thoughts, Gatwiri.
When I first saw that proverb, it took me back to when I was young. I'm Kenyan, for those who don't know. And when I grew up, many households in Nairobi used to have, the way people hang things on the wall. One of the things that used to be hung on the wall in many homes was some sign written, "Children learn what they live." So when I read that proverb, "A child is what you put in them," it took me back to that time, that children learn what they live. So whatever it is that you speak into the child, it's what the child will intake, what the child will be. So in terms of, if you're always encouraging the child, building up the self-esteem, as opposed to putting down the child, maybe talking negative towards the child. So that's what really came to mind, and it took me back to that sign, that children are what they live. So which more or less coincides with a child is what you put in them.
I love that. Hearing you share about, Nairobi and children, and how children become what you tell them, what you speak to them. It reminded me of one of the questions I prepared for our conversation today, where I want you to share with us a moment when you are 8 to 12, that inspires who you are today as a leader. Paint for us the picture, maybe the smell of the food around that time, the place, and we want to learn a little bit more about you around that time, but really how that moment drives who you are today, as the leader that you've become.
Um, Between 8 and 12, okay, I can't quite per se pinpoint a specific time, but what I remember during about myself within that period of time was the fact that, of course, as a child at that age, you have no concerns in the world. At that time, you go to school because that's something your parent tells you to do. It's not so much something you think about, I'm going to school so that I can learn, so that I can better my future and all that. So what I can remember per se is the freedom, and the freedom, let's say, like that my mother gave me in terms of being willing to and educating me in matters of how to maybe better use my money. What I remember is when I turned 10, I had a very big birthday party, and family cousins were invited, and of course, as with birthday presents come, so I was given money, and I was given 1000 Kenya shillings. So think back 1999, when you give a child 1000 Kenya shillings, that's quite a lot of money for a child. And what I loved about it is that my mother did not take the money. You see the way you're given money and then the mother says, let me keep for you the money, and you never get to see the money again. Well, thankfully that didn't happen. But my mother advised me, since I loved reading books. So she told me, you can save a little, then you use a little to buy a book to read. At that time, at that age, I was reading the likes of Sweet Valley, Francine, Enid Blyton, and the Famous Five. So I remember that I'm in a moment of, I've gotten money. I haven't thought of buying, my mother hasn't taken the money, and she has gone ahead and advised me to buy a book. So every once in a while, I try to buy a book when I come upon some money, and I felt like that was a good lesson to a young person, where you've gotten money and then your parent encourages you to use that money to do something that will that feeds to your hobby. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, now I know why you wrote the Little Veggie Cookbook. Do you have it with you, by the way? And to those
Yes,
who
I
are
do. Yes, I do.
wonderful, those who are with us on Clubhouse, thank you so much. I see that the number of people in the room on Clubhouse is increasing, and I would love to encourage everyone in the room to ping in 1 or 2 people to join us for today's conversation, and also join us on YouTube through the link at the top of the room on Clubhouse. And that way you'll be able to see Gatwiri and my faces as we have this conversation, and you'll also be able to see the Little Veggie Cookbook. This is, I think, a beautiful gift for someone during this holiday season. What's your favorite excerpt from it? I would love for you to read it, or your favorite recipe. I would love for you to read it and just describe the images there, so that you can take those who are watching and listening to a virtual journey of what it took you to write the book, the blood, sweat, and tears.
Okay. The book, just by the title, The Little Veggie Cookbook, is a compilation of some of my favorite vegetarian recipes. So, for those who may be wondering why I wrote a vegetarian book, and I am not vegetarian, I am a meat lover, it was the inspiration that led me here. Last year in November, there's usually something that foodies do called Veggie Vember, where you challenge yourself to try vegetarian recipes for the month of November. So I did that and I enjoyed. So later this year, 2021, I got the inspiration to write the book, and hence the book. So it's just a compilation of some of my favorite vegetarian recipes. And since it's a cookbook, it's very hard to have like an excerpt, but I will read something from, there's a recipe here. This is a burger. Don't know whether people can see the burger
Oh, yes,
there.
yes, I see it.
So,
Big.
so it's a veggie burger. It's made with njahe. Njahe, for those who don't know, is almost equivalent to Mexican black beans. And in Kenya, and particularly Kenyans on Twitter, they have a particular disdain for njahe. So keep that in mind when you listen to what I'll read. The mention of jahe tends to strike a raw nerve for most people. It's one of those things that you either love or hate. As a recent jahe convert, I enjoy its earthy flavor. The beans are very flavorful, and other than enjoying them in a coconut flavored curry, I love making them into burger patties. So that's the introduction to the njahe burger recipe. And as I've said here, I am a recent njahe convert, mainly because I did not grow up eating jahe. I only started eating them recently. So, and I got to love them. I found the flavor to be very complex. And when I don't want to make burgers with meat, I use jahe to make the burgers. And hence the reason it's one of the recipes in my book. Very easy to prepare and very delicious. Don't be fooled by the image. It's not meat.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it, man. How long did it take you to? I know that this is based on what did you call the event in November?
Veggievember.
Veggievember. But how long did it
Yeah.
take you to compile this and put the whole project together? And really, if there's a young girl in the Kenyan diaspora or back in Kenya, or a young girl who is not even of Kenyan origin that is listening to you and is inspired by what you are. In fact, I'll share this episode with my daughters. I'm a father of 3 girls. What should I tell them about, of course, we already shared with us why you did it, but how long it took you, the challenges you are faced with, and maybe one thing that you did that you'd not do if you had to do this again.
Okay. So for starters, it took me 2 months. I seriously started the work at the beginning of September. But unfortunately, I got the idea in June, but I began the work in September. So I did it September and October, and then I released it the beginning of November. The challenge I got was I am not a food photographer in as much as I share food content. So, and since I had minimal resources, I had to do the photography myself, and that was the challenge. In terms of what I would do different is that I got the idea in June, but I started the book in September. So I should have started the journey when the idea struck so that I have enough time, because the last week of October, I would sleep at 3 a.m. trying to finalize so that I meet my deadline.
My goodness, you're courageous. You're courageous because, a lot of people think I do a lot. And I also think sometimes that I do a lot. But, I feel that you took action. You didn't delay, actually.
Yes,
I think you feel that you might have delayed in between when you got the idea and when you decided to execute it. But I think it was still fantastic. And, I just want you to listen in for the next 10 or so minutes. We have a few people here on stage that I want to give them a moment to share with you, just their thoughts about the book, because they've been listening, and their thoughts about, everything you've shared with us so far. And then I'll invite you to just respond to some of the comments. And also I'll invite you to share with us how people can stay connected and how people can support your work. So while I give a chance to, the next about 5 people to share with us just in a minute or two their thoughts, I want you to prepare how people can stay connected and how people can get a copy of your book, and really how else people who are listening now can support you. Jermaine, I want to pass you the microphone. We heard from Zizi earlier. Jermaine, tweet size comment. How are you feeling about everything you heard, and what are your thoughts about this proverb?
Hey, greetings, Simon. It's been a while. I'm so happy to hear you speak about your three daughters. That's a really powerful, role that you're being given, and you're doing a tremendous job based on how you've been explaining you growing your food. That's a provider, and that's one of the main function, of a father, and that connects to the proverb. What you put in is really what you create. So if you put in food, for example, good fufu, yam, millets, well balanced, nutritious meals, your child would grow, wholesome, healthy manner. Versus if you were to give your child, say, fast food breakfast from McDonald's breakfast, and other you know, unhealthy meals. That's what you're putting in, and that's what you will get out. Similarly, if you were putting in positive affirmation, as Malone said, Alexis, she speak to, being an educator and a child psychologist. When most children, by the age 7, they would have developed you know, some character or personality. And if, for example, the father is missing, which is a key input. That's a very major input into how the child will develop. Equally, the mother. So you put in food, you put in words, you put in, just various experiences into your child, and that's what exactly you're gonna get out. The child is a blank slate, and you have the ability to write on that, and you are actually writing on that blank slate. You're creating a narrative, and whatever you put in, whatever you do, the child can observe. That's what the child will output. So, it's a very important proverb to me, and I just want to connect it with just you being a father and what you said about the food, since your guest is talking about food as well, and that is also an important part of building the child, not only mentally but physically, because what we put in literally and food wise also go a far way in developing the mind of the child, the micronutrients that are important for brain function. Sometimes a child is not learning is because of what we're putting in terms of food and nutrients. So we need to ensure that our children are receiving the right nutrient, as well as the right words, the right actions, that they can become solid, well compact physically and mentally, well-rounded individuals. I know we'll land the mic. Thanks again, Simon, and keep doing a good job.
Thank you so much, Jermaine. I'm grateful for your comments and your compliments. Now I want to give Life a moment to share with us her thoughts, just briefly, on my conversation with Gituiri Hiraoko, who is the author of the Little Veggie Cookbook and is my guest. We are live on YouTube. And we want to hear your thoughts on the proverb and our conversation, and then we'll come back to my special guest to share a few words with us.
Okay, greetings, divine awareness, beautiful people. Thank you, Simon, for holding the space. Really, like Zizi, she's such a beautiful person. I met her around the time and I got into this platform. Honestly, Miss Zizi, she helped me love life all over again. So I just want to gratitude that to Miss Zizi. And, with this topic, I'm originally from East Africa, Ethiopia. So we neighbors, Kenyans right next door from us. But what I just want to say thank you. Like, you're not just talking the talk and you walking the walk as well. You practicing what you're preaching, because you doing the walk right along. Like, we are, like, what we put in our children, we seed in. We put in a seed, we try to grow a better fruit. So I just want to say thank you so much, because our children's this day is like a lack of knowledge, where we're not giving them, they dying, like, left to the right. A lack of knowledge, a lack of health, a lack of knowing in general. Because this children was put in this earth, they can teach us, not so much for us to poison them, to poison their mind, to poison their body, to poison the whole, their life journey. So just, I'm gonna go ahead. I haven't read the book, and I'll make sure I'll get the book for the next 2-3 days, so I can learn a lot more about that book. And just so thank you, thank you so much. And Simon, I thank you from this point, and I would not miss this club. Honestly, this was such an informational. This is what we need. This is what we need to put out in the universe, because the atmosphere itself has been so toxic. It's affecting our children. It's affecting what we put in our children. It's affecting what we put in our mind. So I just want to say thank you so much.
You're most welcome, Life, and I'm grateful that you're here. Gatwiri, also note down how people who are not in Kenya can get the book. People who are in the US, people who are in East Africa. Coco, how are you? Share with us your thoughts on the proverb and any comments to my special guest today.
I really can't speak. I'm here to listen. I'm in a very noisy area right now, but I'm definitely enjoying it and will look to get the book.
Oh, thank you so much, Coco. I'm grateful that you're here. Hey, Queen T, share with us your thoughts on the proverb and any comments to my guest.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Life, for pinging me in. I just want to say I'm really excited. I think this is brilliant. I love it. Like the fact that that you love meat, but you still were able to make a cookbook and a vegan cookbook is beautiful. It's brilliant. I think you're amazing. I cannot wait to purchase it. So please, I would like to know how I can purchase it for myself, for my kids, for my family, because we can always use a little tab of good cooking, especially when it comes with vegetables and healthy eating. So that's all I have to share. Thank you so much for this space, and peace and blessings to everybody.
Oh, thank you so much, Queen T. Bibi, how are you? Share with us your thoughts on my conversation with Gituiri Hiraoko.
Thank you, Simon. Give me a few more minutes. I'm still on my way home, so I'll respond in a minute. Sorry. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, Bibi. Nice to have you here. Cornelia, thank you for being here and thank you for your continued support. Share with me your thoughts on my conversation with, our special guest, and also your thoughts on the proverb. Thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you for this room. I walked into the room of LOV, love, love, love. And it sounds like we have a very special woman here as a guest who cooks from the heart and has put a great book together. When I just listen to what the others have shared, it's sustainability and putting good things into our children. It's so important, so vital, so vital. And yes, it is our duty as parents as well to do just that. And what a way is Zizi to put something like that together for those who have the difficulty to put something like that together, say, you know what? Here's your book, get it from me. So let us know as well how we can reach out and get your book. Thank you, Simon, for getting such great people here on the stage.
You're most welcome. And finally, let's hear from Kalema briefly before we come back to Gatwiri. Thank you again, Cornelia.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Actually, when I looked at the book, when I looked at this title, it reminded me of of when we were kids and our mom used to tell us things not to do, things to do, how to handle yourself in the kitchen as a lady and things like that. So I'm thinking the book has more than the kitchen itself. As in, I think it has even the morals of how to take yourself in the kitchen for both the boys and the girls, and also, and maybe it has all the recipes, especially from down here. So kudos and thank you so much. And hopefully it gets onto Amazon so that people might actually purchase it, just like they've said. Otherwise, I have nothing to say, but just cheering you on and hoping to get more of what the book offers. Thank you so much. And I'm Kalema for now.
Thank you so much, Kalima. I'm grateful, and I'm just sending you and all the Ugandans love, in relation to what just happened recently. I hope you and your family are doing okay. Now I'm back to my wonderful guest, Gatwiri Hiraoko, who is joining us from Nairobi. And Gatwiri shared with us today, just a little story of her upbringing, her thoughts on this proverb. And she read a little excerpt from her amazing book, the little Veggie Cookbook. And I want to bring you back the mic, my wonderful sister. Share with us your thoughts about everything that you just heard from others from various places around the world, and also how people can get the book, whether they're in Kenya or elsewhere, and then how people can stay connected with you.
Thank you so much, Simon. It was lovely to listen to everyone, and it's amazing. It's unanimous, regardless of which part of the world one is from. We are all in agreement that whatever you put it in your child and working towards building whatever is good, whatever is pure into your child, so that they grow up to be confident, to be full of esteem. So everyone is on the same page on that matter, which is very good. About my book, as I said, it's called The Little Veggie Cookbook. So it has vegetarian recipes. It has 42 recipes which are vegetarian, and 26 of them are vegan friendly. And being from Kenya, I was encouraged, or rather, I took advantage of the fact that accessibility to fresh produce, legumes, grains is very easy, and worked on that. And I also tried to use ingredients that Kenyans would normally get at the soko. Soko is market, but normally don't buy just because they don't know how to use them or they find them to be foreign. So it's in a way to bring, instead of using like kidney beans, let's use chickpeas, because chickpeas is not per se very commonly used in Kenyan homes. Yes, Kenyan Indians definitely will be cooking with chickpeas, but just Kenyans not so much. So it's trying to work with that. So for those who are outside Kenya, how you can get the book. So here's the book, the Little Veggie Cookbook. It's in two versions. There's the physical copy of the book, and there's the electronic copy of the book, which you can get from my website, www.leotunapika. Leo Tunapika is, I'm sure Simon will be able to write for us. It's LeoTunapika, leotunapika.com. Leo Tunapika is Kiswahili for what are we cooking today? You see, the way when you go home in the evening, you ask the person you're with, whether it's your partner, whether it's your sibling, your parent. So what are we cooking today? So here, equivalently, we ask each other, Leo Tunapika. So hence the reason for the name of my blog. So when you go to www.leotunapika.com, you can be able to buy the e-version of the cookbook, and it's going for $10. So everything is automated. Cards are being accepted. That's Visa or MasterCard. Though since you're paying to a foreign website, perhaps you may need to call your card company to let them know that the transaction you're doing is well within the limit. It's well within, it's not a fraudulent transaction, but that's where you can get it. As for the physical book, I'm still trying to see how I can affordably ship it to other parts of the world, because the shipping costs are amounting to be more than the cost of the book. And I feel like even if it's the person bearing that cost, it's a bit not fair. You buy the book for $20 and then shipping is like $35. So, yeah. So, in the meantime, for those who are interested in the book, you can get the e-version of the book, and you can get that through my website, www.leotunapika.com. So, it's full of vegetarian recipes that my family and I absolutely enjoy eating.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Gatwiri. And thank you to everyone who is here with us on Clubhouse. It's amazing. We are also live on YouTube. The link, if you want to join us, is at the top of the room on Clubhouse. And I've been here for almost an hour with the amazing Gatwiri Hiraoko. We've been talking about today's African proverb that says, a child is what you put into them. And we've also been talking about Gatwiri's, exciting childhood and, the food around that time and just the stories. And then we talked about, her favorite part of the book that she just wrote, the Little Veggie Cookbook. And then we heard from everyone on stage. We had, shares in regards to what this proverb means to Zizi and Coco, Bibi, Kalema, and Cornelia. And now we have Sensors on stage. Sensors, I want you to share with us in a moment what we are doing this Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And for now, I want to come back to you, Gatwiri. You haven't shared how everyone can stay connected with you.
Yeah. So, for you to be stay connected, keep tabs with what I'm doing, see the different recipes, because in addition to the book, I do share recipes on different social media platforms. So you can get me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter under the name Leo Tunapika across the board. So Leo Tunapika across the board. I'm mainly on Instagram, but I'm also on Twitter and Facebook. That's where I share what I'm up to. I share the mini recipes that I am working on, and so we can connect on there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Sensors, I want to pass you the microphone so that you can now share with us what we're doing on Saturday.
Hi, everyone. This is Census. Great to have you all in the Africa Daily Proverb Club. I, with the team, Simon and I, and a small team, we host a show on Saturday at 11 Central Time. And during that show, it's part of our Africa Day series. Last year, we held an Africa Day series for 24 hours. And so we are breaking apart all of those sections and having an episode on each one of them. This Saturday, we're going to be talking about music and the arts in Africa, looking at advancement of music, various music, local, different artists, the African beat, the significance of that beat, and its connection to our identity and the movements that are coming out because of that. So please join us in the Africa Day Club. It's, I think, the first or the second club when you go into my bio. It's got a map of Africa, so you won't miss it. Last week, we discussed the message of Kwame Nkrumah as part of the OAU when it was established, as well as connecting it to COP26 and the climate change issues that are going on and their impact on Africa and the developing countries. It was well attended. We had really good discussions, so we are hoping to have you there. And I think that is the most of it, Simon.
Hey, Sensors. So what does this proverb mean to you? A child is what you put into him.
Well, very simply put, we are part of the team that creates the identity of the children we have or the children we're raising. If we are poisoned, then we poison the well, which is the child that we're bringing into the world. So we have to be a bit more proactive and awake when we are dealing with children and raising children. And I think also just raising new generations, because everything you get attached to, you give a part of you into it. And if that part of you is not whole, then you risk destroying or breaking that other one you're trying to give a part of you to. So be conscious. That is my understanding of it. Oh, and I am happy to see Baby. Great to see you here. She's South Sudanese. So it's lovely to have her joining the Africa Proverb. I hope we can see you too on Saturday. And Networker as well as DZ, Coco, would love to have all of you, including all those in attendance. Thank you.
Hey, and Sas, thank you so much. And you mentioned Bibi, and I remember she needed a few minutes to be at a place where she could speak. So, Bibi, before we wrap up, I want to pass you the microphone so that you share your thoughts with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. I'm back home now. I was just on my way from dropping off my daughter to school. So I was driving and I was just listening at the same time. But yes, thank you so much, Sensors. Good morning. Hi, Zizi. Lexi was here earlier, but I think she already left. And Tara, everyone. As I always say, it's kind of like a reunion being here with everyone. And as far as the proverb goes, I completely agree with it because I have two little girls and I have a 14-year-old son. And if I compare the difference between my son and my daughters, is that when I had my son, I was very young. I had no business being a mom, but of course, everyone's circumstances are different. But my parenting him and the girls are completely different, and I realized that with my daughters, I consciously parent them, and with my son, back then I didn't know any better, and I listened to different opinions and advices, and of course whooping and all that. And I noticed that how my son reacts to when he makes a mistake versus when my daughters are completely two opposites. And I feel like we are responsible for all that. And me, how I treated him versus how I treat the girls were completely how they both respond. Because it's like the girls, when they do something that they weren't supposed to, they completely apologize immediately, and they come and give me a hug and say I'm sorry and stuff like that, and then I won't do it again. As far as my son will not tell me. Like, I have to get it out of him. And sometimes it's like I feel like he's afraid of me versus my girls, because he used to get whooped whenever he would do something that he wasn't supposed to do, because he would repeatedly do it. But I didn't know any better. And like Maya Angelou says, or Oprah, when you know better, you do better. So it's like I feel like with my son and the way how I parent him, I didn't know any better, so I didn't do any better. So now I'm kind of like reparenting all over again with him, and unlearning all those bad parenting that I did to him. And I actually find myself apologizing whenever I treat him different from the girls, and he realizes that and he questions me about it. So it's like it's true. Whatever our kids become is what we put into them. So we always have to be conscious, and sometimes we have to step back and watch our actions as well. So with that, that's my take. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. We are coming to the very end of our conversation today. Gatwiri, I'm so grateful you made the time for us to connect today. Is there anything I did not ask you that you'd like to share with us today?
I don't think there's anything else.
Well, thank you again. I'm so grateful. And to everybody else on Clubhouse, thank you for being here. Thank you for your continued support. Tomorrow, I am hosting Dr. M.D. Williams. So join me for that conversation. I will not be doing the Daily African Proverbs on Saturday and Sunday from this week. So you will not see me on Saturday and Sunday, but I'll be there for the Africa Day event on Saturday at 9 a.m. So join me for that. And then I'll see you on Monday. But if you want to catch this conversation on audio, it's on all podcasting platforms an hour after this conversation. And it's already on YouTube. You can catch it right now on YouTube. Gatwiri and I are still live there. But my YouTube channel is also pinned at the top of the room. I would really love for you to subscribe and be informed every time we have a new conversation that we are live streaming. You can catch it. I'm grateful, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take great care of yourselves.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okello, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.